Hello guys, this is Off Track Wanderers and we're about to start our first walk in Vilnius. That's called L1 walk and we are at the beginning, right?
Yeah, this is the start of our track and it's a really hot day today. The annoying thing is that we don't actually know how long this track is going to be for. So obviously on all our ever walk, well this is our first walk, but we've seen that at the bus stop that they should show us like a map of like where it's going to be, how far the track's going to be. But yeah, there's nothing there. So we're just going to have to walk and see how far and how long it takes. So this is like an old Soviet place we're going to, is it? Or
Yes, well this is the district. The biggest part of the track is in a neighborhood called Lazdynai, which comes from a hazelnut tree. So there used to be a lot of hazelnuts here. So that's where the most of the track will be. And along the way we will tell about this neighborhood more. But at the moment, if you can see, we are at the newly built area. Houses look very nice.
We've got some nice houses, like they look like summer houses when I came here.
Yeah, so this is very far from the city center, very out of the, very central things. But there's a lot of woods around. So let's hope there's no bears, right?
Yeah. And so we'll give you an update of what it is, and stay tuned. We're going to be posting all the videos for what is it like. So this is the first track, and how many tracks are there in total?
If we're right and if they counted correctly, this is 24 tracks.
Yeah. There's more information about the tracks, what we're going to be doing. I'll post a link above. So if you want to see more about our track and what we're going to be doing, just check the video above us. But yeah, let's follow up on our walk, and hopefully this will be entertaining. We'll see some cool stuff.
Let's hope so.
Alright. So I'm walking straight ahead. We're just following the map. There's like no signs anywhere posted. Anywhere. So we're just like looking at the map very carefully, trying to figure out a way to get there. Because like I thought there would be signposts or something telling us about what track we're on. There is nothing here. So we're assuming that it's going to be this way. We just started from back behind us. Luckily we have all day in the world.
And there's a track. There's a track here and there's a shade. So I assume this is a good part.
Yeah.
Well, it's at least pleasant.
Yeah. Huh?
Well, according to our map, we need to go down there. Yes, and take the left turn. Are you ready for this?
Let's go. Whoa. This is very steep. So yeah, make sure if you come here, wear the right trainers.
That's the hill we walked down. We survived and no bears attacked us. So James's fear of being attacked by a bear is still just a fear. That's no evidence that there could be some bears there. But we'll see.
There could be bears here.
I said there's no evidence that there could be, so...
Yeah. But we're still early on the trip.
True.
So.
And there's still more woods to explore.
Yeah. Alright, let's go.
Okay, so this is a tombstone for dead German soldiers who died, 5 German soldiers who died battling here in 1944, July. So it's Second World War. But I just would like to note that there's a grammatical mistake in the word German. It's missing one letter, but I guess that doesn't.
So, what, they're fighting out here in the woods?
Yeah, I guess this is the place where some fighting happened. So back in the day it was outskirts of Vilnius. That district Lazdynai, where we are walking today, or are going to walk today, wasn't yet here, so there was no big houses. There was just fields and maybe a few wooden ones.
Oh, there are some candles here as well on the side.
Yeah. And my map is about to end on Google Map. But the map that we are following says that it still continues. So I guess this is gonna be a real off-track path. In the 80s, and it was built around all like this mythical creatures, fairy tale creatures, with a lot of sculptures. And as soon as it was built, it became a place where all kinds of punks and youth began to gather. So soon it was demolished by young people. But we will see. So it looks much better now. Of the fairy tale park where the sculptures actually begin. As you can see, this is the entrance, and further you can climb the stairs. So the park was built in 1986 and opened in 87, and as I mentioned before, very soon after having been open, it became very popular with very revolutionary youth. So they came here and they used to litter here and break everything down. So for long years this used to be a kind of a dangerous place. And when we were getting ready for this walk, I found somewhere that even a maniac was here, but fortunately he got caught. So nowadays, from 2003, this has been a safe place because local community, they gathered together and they cleaned it up, and now it's a very nice place for walks, and we even saw a few people walking even on the work day as it is today. So now it's a good place to be. So I guess we will continue to see some of the sculptures. They're all wooden and they're all characters from traditional Lithuanian fairy tales. So let's check them out.
Alright, so we just left the park. We saw some interesting sculptures. So when you walk out of the park, you just keep following the path, and you'll see another path here. Do you see on the camera? Yeah, right behind us. And so they could have started here, actually. I think, to start on this track, instead of doing everything we walked around, they could just simply start from this track here.
Yeah, so you have enough of energy to explore the fairy tale park and then move on.
Yeah, because from here, there's a lot more interesting stuff we're going to see. And also, just behind us, right behind us, right behind us, there's also a tower right there.
The TV tower.
TV tower, yeah, so it's so close. And if we're lucky, we're actually going to be passing that tower, or we might even get some better views of it. So when you carry walking straight ahead, we're going to see a bridge. So like I said, just keep an eye on the map and try not to get lost if we're going to take this track. But yeah, so further ahead is going to be the bridge, so we're going to cross the bridge, and then where we're going to be going to?
Well, we are going to explore the very neighborhood that we are in.
So we're going to one of the oldest Soviet towns. Okay.
So finally we reached the sleeping neighborhood, as we call it in Lithuania, called Lazdynai. I remind you that it's named after a hazelnut tree or bush. So before 19th century, this used to be a village in this place, which wasn't formally a part of Vilnius. But soon they began like building houses. But the real like move forward was in 1970s, where they built the big houses. So when they were planning this neighborhood, the project was to make it very big. So what we have now as 3 different neighborhoods, it was supposed to be one huge. But then again, they had this problem, because as you probably might have noticed, there's a lot of woods here. So the question was either to leave the woods here or to like demolish them, cut them. So they decided to leave the woods, and they built all the houses around it. So as you have noticed, and you will probably notice a bit further on our walk, all these houses and all these paths are like very winding, very curvy, because they had to preserve the woods. So when they finished building this neighborhood, it was very modern. And it won a big award in Soviet times for the architecture and for the planning. And they started building very tall houses here. Houses were up to 16 floors. But then they noticed that people tended to be a bit depressed in these tall, big block houses. So they ended up making them a bit smaller. But all in all, at the time when it was built, this was the most modern neighborhood in all Lithuania, in this part of Soviet Union. And they say that architects and planners, they were following examples of Finland and some of the French cities. But as you walk here now, you can still feel the spirit of like Soviet Union in 70s and 80s. So I guess you will see a lot of pictures of that on our walk a bit further as well. So basically what you can see here is a good example of what we were talking about, the 16-story buildings. And if you look at your left, you can see the forest and the nature that has been preserved. So this is both very big buildings and very nice nature. Well, the tricky thing about this walk is that we still haven't seen any signs. So we're doing our best to stay on track, which we think it is a track, but it's a bit tricky.
Yeah, like every now and then, well, constantly you have to look at your map to see where you're going.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hoping all the other tracks are not like that.
Let's hope so.
Yeah.
So we reached a place where sculptures begin. So in this neighborhood there's 4 big sculptures, and we're next to one of them. This one's called Rytas. In Lithuanian it means the morning, and it was built in 1975. And actually this sculpture now is, well, what they call the symbol of this neighborhood. But the thing is that since it was built in 1975, even till nowadays, there has been a problem with it, because for some reason some people would find it very interesting to demolish or to do something bad to it. So what they were forced to do, basically, eventually, was to lift it up. So that's why now it is on this very high postament, so that no one can reach it and do anything bad with it. So have a closer look, and we will continue our walk.
So this is what you'll see. When you carry on following the track, you're going to get to a lovely view ahead of you. So if you follow this way, we'll get such a big view. There's the pictures of the landscape.
This is a nature nature reservoir, nature park, a big drop. You can see pictures how it used to look like in '62 and how it looks like now.
Yeah. Look at that view, it's so crazy. You can see the river from down there. So that's the main river then, what connects through Vilnius, I believe.
River Neris. So that's the drop. It's very interesting for scientists because they can see different layers of earth formation.
And that looks like the park, you know the stadium? The stadium in that park we were planning to go to. Do you think that's it?
Yeah, this is Park of Vilnius. I think so.
Yeah.
Or maybe not.
And there's Vilnius?
Or maybe not, no. No.
You're not sure.
This is a lie. No.
And right ahead, there's Vilnius. Like
And you can see a stadium there.
So, how do you follow the track then to continue our walk?
So in order to continue the walk, you just go now on the left.
Yeah, sure, and then just left.
Yep. Another interesting object on our way is a church. It's a Catholic church and a monastery here. And the interesting thing about it is that, as we mentioned, when the neighborhood was built in the 70s, so it was Soviet times, and back in Soviet times it wasn't allowed to build churches because religion wasn't allowed. So basically this very big neighborhood of around 300,000 people, they just didn't have any churches at all. So this one was built after Lithuania got their independence back. At first they built the chapel in 1993, and only in 2000s they basically opened this big church. And there has already been a monastery. So now this is probably one of the newest churches in Vilnius, and it's very big, very bright, and very modern, which is very rare in Vilnius. So you can look around a bit.
And they got some crosses as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, what?
The street is called Žeručia. Wanna repeat?
Hi guys. So.
But the name comes from a name Žerėti, which is to twinkle, I guess. Twinkle, shine bright. Yeah, so yeah, this is a bright shining street.
Yeah, and your favourite street because there's some shade here. It's one of the hottest days.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't get confused with the strike. It was a bit complicated, that turn in there. So I think if you find this main street, you should be fine. You just take this main street right to what's Oslo?
Yeah.
Oslo Street, and from there that should bring you to where, the woods?
Yeah, more woods.
So how long have we been walking now for?
Well, it's hard to count.
How far is the track? You're looking for what, an hour?
No, we've been walking for, I must say, 4 hours. 4 hours.
Well, yeah, but because we stopped a lot and we had some food and
Yeah.
stuff. So.
But still, for us, it will take the whole day.
Yeah, so if we go on this track, yeah, you're going to be spending quite a long time. This is probably one of the longest tracks.
Yeah, that's an adventure.
Yeah. You have to carry walking straight down there where we came from. We managed to see one of these bridges. This is Oslo Road. So I have to cross over Oslo's Road, over a bridge. If you're on this bridge, you're going the right way. So it looks like we're heading into the woods.
And looks like there's no nice path, just the road and woods. We'll see how it goes for us.
Yeah, we'll see what's ahead of us.
we're heading to the foresty area of this walk, and on this way we're supposed to see two smaller neighborhoods, one called Bukçe and another called Lazdynai. Note that Lazdynai is like little hazelnuts.
Yeah. So basically this road, like there was no path. There was like, I'm not sure you can get it, but yeah, there's like a long road. There's no path here.
And there's, as you can see, cars going.
Yeah, but we saw a lady walking with a dog, but now we don't know where she's gone. She's vanished somewhere. But yeah, there's no path here. We're looking straight ahead. And yeah, we're hoping to find one of those villages to see what lies ahead of us. But this is the route which they told us to take, right?
Yes.
We're on the right path?
Looks like it.
Yeah, but why would they bring us onto a path, like a route where there's not even a path, there's no signboards anywhere, and especially there's nothing to see here. Just woods and villages.
Well, this whole track looks like a big joke for me. Like as if someone's, making fun of us. Because there's no signs. So you just, guessing your way. And once you feel that you are on the right track, there's no path for pedestrians. So.
But what about a bike? Well, maybe. Well, I think this part would be good to have a bike.
Yeah.
Probably not. But not the first part.
So we're walking in the forest, named after a village or neighborhood, Bukçe Forest. And guess what we found? It looks like bunkers. And well, we think they must have been some kind of remains of bunkers, because when we asked the lady who was walking the dog if we're taking the right path, she said, yeah, just go in the forest, and when you see bunkers, there's gonna be a lot of paths, which is true. There's a lot of very wide paths, and surprisingly enough, James is going to explore. Surprisingly enough, there's people walking, and there's even people pushing prams. So I guess this is not as dangerous place as it would look like. It's very hard to walk. It's very long.
And there's no path. We don't know where we're going. This is the walk of track 1.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for more suffering. Eh? Stay tuned for more suffering and getting lost.
So we just left the forest of Bukçe, and as you could see from my condition, it's been a long track, and this path, as you can see on the map, it's very winding, so you can basically be your own boss and choose where to cut and which loops don't make. So we decided to cut off one neighborhood, and we googled with the whole responsibility if we are missing out on things. So that neighborhood is called Bukçe, the same name as this forest. So this neighborhood, it used to be a village, and then it got built as a housing neighborhood, and well, that's basically it about it. But while we were googling about it, we found out that those bunkers that we saw in the forest, they are actually Polish bunkers, and I think in World War II, or even in between the wars, they were used for shooting. So there's a whole range of bunkers with shooting holes. So that's the update on that. And now we're heading to a neighborhood called Lazdynai, the little hazelnut town. So let's check it out. So we just passed by the Lazdynai, the little hazelnut town, So it's very interesting because like it's behind our backs, behind this forest, and in front of us there's a road, and behind the road there's Lazdynai, the big hazelnut village. So that's it. Now we're heading where?
To a river. We're walking to a river, and hoping that Dana's going to get us there. Sticking to the route. The road shows that what it would pass by the river, or
Well, we should bump into the river and then turn. So I hope we will at least see it.
yeah, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for because we've not seen. Well, we saw one river, but that was at Cliff actually. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing some river. Oh, it's very bright here, and a long path ahead of us. And yeah, but those two cities, like there was like nothing much. Like we passed. Well, the route doesn't tell us to go in the village. It tells us to go like along the village, so you would actually see what it looks like inside. So we thought about missing all that area since there's nothing in that village anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we're just taking a long path now ahead of us. I'm looking forward to going back to where we started. Knowing that we've done this walk. It is a hard walk. It's very hard.
It is.
You know, I'm very hoping all the other tracks are not like this. But this is madness. Like all the tracks which we've seen listed said that the walks are for like an hour.
Well, two tops.
Yeah, this is the killer.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyone else? I mean, I don't recommend people to be on this path. Maybe if you had a bike, I think. I don't know. It's a hard path. Maybe for a challenge, if you want to challenge yourself.
Yeah.
If you think we'll make what is it? We should do something like challenge people who's been here. Because like no one would be here, you know.
Well, now we have to wait for someone to challenge us.
Yeah, see who's been here, who could even.
Yeah.
Okay, who could get to that city?
Yeah.
Who could record from like those 3 destinations?
Yeah.
From that city which we seen from under the bridge. This is a long path.
So we almost missed this spot because we were in a hurry because the battery is getting low. But this is something very interesting. So you can see some kind of little river. I don't want to believe that it's a sewage. Maybe it's a stream or something entering the big river Nedis. And that's a very cute spot.
Yeah, and there's a big signboard at the top, but I don't know.
It looks like the sign saying that you shouldn't dig here or something.
Yeah, it looks like a.
I'll try to look at it. Oh yeah.
What is it?
Yeah, there's electricity here, so we should be careful.
Oh, there is a picture. Look how big that hole is. Can you see it from where I am?
Yeah.
There's like a big hole.
And this looks like a sewage after all when you look at the hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go closer. Yeah, can you see that hole? Maybe we should walk under it.
No.
See where it leads.
Thank you now.
Can you see it? Such a big hole.
Yeah.
So let's go on up. Walk up. Okay. Good news, guys. Yeah, so we're walking our way back, and we're so happy that we know where we are now. So we've came here before, going back this way, which was the right way, wasn't it? We had to go back this way.
Yeah.
But I don't understand. So the route told us to go back on ourselves.
Well, yeah, because at the beginning of the route there's a loop, so we are re-entering the loop that we made, and we're going to the bus stop where the route started.
Yeah. So.
So I guess since we re-entered the loop, we can we can begin doing the conclusion about how we like the route and everything.
Yeah. Oh, this is the worst. I'm hoping like I said, the tracks don't carry on like this, because it's not going to be a fun journey. Not know where you're going. I mean, it's quite interesting. I like the idea that it goes through different territories, but it's too big.
Yeah, this is too big for one day for going on foot, and I'm not sure that it's actually good, like if you take the whole of it, that it's actually good to do it on a bike. So I guess my advice would be just to cut it in parts and do the part that you're most interested in.
Yeah, so what would you give it out of 10?
Oh, 6, but just because it's our first one, so I'm raising it a bit. But like the big flaw is that it doesn't have the boards and the signs.
Yeah, you have no idea where you're going. If you don't have, oh, this is the worst. No Google Maps.
Yeah.
Not even having a look at this map, which is underneath the description. You won't make it. You have no idea where you're going.
But other than that, like you would cross at least 4 or maybe even 5 different forests.
And how many bridges?
A lot of bridges.
4 or 5 different bridges.
Yeah, and see the neighborhood that's normally not very common with tourists or tours. So yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, all the information will be under the link. If you want to take a challenge to go for this walk, it would be good for someone to. I like to see a video poster of someone being here. But like I said, this track is like I said, all the information about what is it? The leisure walk 1. First leisure walk 1 completed, and another how many to go? 23 to go.
Yeah.
Another 23 leisure walks to go. So if you want to see all the walks and you want to follow us along, see some interesting stuff, subscribe and like this channel. And yeah, we'll post more stuff what's happening up in the coming days. Alright?
See you soon.
See ya. Peace.